The rain drummed against the glass facade of the Sterling Tower's headquarters as the ballroom inside glittered with crystal chandeliers and muted whispers of wealth. It was a gala meant to dazzle. 100 high-powered executives, their diamonds catching the light, champagne glasses clinking. In one corner, near the gleaming marble stairwell, a man in a faded Navy janitor's uniform mopped quietly, eyes lowered, moving with a rhythm that seemed almost like music itself. Most people didn't notice him, except for one. The CEO's daughter, a radiant young woman in a silver dress perched at the grand piano. She laughed with friends and, with a playful smirk, made a challenge that would echo through the hall. "If you can play Chopin," she said to a circle of suitors, "I'll marry you." The room erupted in laughter at the audacity. Everyone assumed the challenge was only a flirtatious jest. But the man with the mop froze, his heart pounding. He had once been a conservatory prodigy before life had taken a cruel turn. If you believe in kindness and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Hidden Hearts. Your support helps us tell more stories like this. He'd been a child of a small Polish village, the son of a music teacher, his fingers trained from the age of 5 on Chopin Nocturne. By 17, he had been accepted into a prestigious conservatory, but a family tragedy and a chain of bad luck forced him to abandon his dreams. Now he was 51, bent from years of cleaning other people's floors. Every day he passed the Steinway in the lobby, but never touched it, as though it were a relic from a lost life. Yet tonight, hearing that offhand challenge, "If you play Chopin," something stirred deep inside him. As the gala progressed, the CEO's daughter continued teasing the young men around her, none of whom could play more than a few bars. Guests began to drift away from the buffet toward the piano, curious. The janitor leaned his mop against the wall, trembling. He wasn't sure if he had the courage anymore. His uniform was stained, his shoes squeaked. He thought of all the times he'd been invisible, of the rent past due on his apartment, of the cracked photograph of his mother at her upright piano. The pain and the hope fused into a single pulse. Slowly, he walked up to the piano. At first the crowd murmured, thinking he was there to clean a spill. But when he sat on the bench and placed his calloused fingers on the keys, a hush fell. He closed his eyes. The first notes of Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat floated out, soft and trembling at first, then growing surer, warmer, as though the piano itself were breathing. The CEO's daughter's laughter stopped. She stared wide-eyed. The guests pressed closer. Even the CEO, a towering figure in a tailored suit, moved nearer, his brow furrowed. With each phrase, the janitor poured decades of longing into the melody. The music told of lost youth, of heartbreak, of dignity surviving humiliation. It rose and fell like waves. Tears glimmered in unexpected eyes. The chandeliers seemed to flicker softer, as if bowing to the nocturne. By the time he reached the final chord, the hall was utterly silent. He lifted his hands slowly, trembling, and for the first time in decades looked straight into a crowd. The CEO's daughter stood. She walked toward him, still stunned. In that moment, she realized the challenge had not been a joke to him. It had been a lifeline. She reached for his roughened hands and whispered something no one could hear. The CEO himself, clearing his throat, asked quietly where the janitor had learned to play like that. The janitor only said, "I used to dream." His voice cracked on the last word. In the days that followed, the story of the janitor who played Chopin spread beyond the gala. Videos surfaced online. People wept, watching a grainy clip of him at the piano. Offers poured in from music halls and universities. But he remained humble, still finishing his shifts until the CEO personally invited him to his office. There, the man who had spent decades scrubbing marble floors was offered a full scholarship for advanced study, a recording contract, and more than that, an apology for being overlooked, for being underestimated. As for the CEO's daughter, she kept her words. She did not marry him, but she became his patron and lifelong friend, organizing concerts for underprivileged youth. In a way, she fulfilled the promise of the challenge. She opened a door to a new life. At his first public recital, he dedicated his performance to all those whose dreams were swept aside, but whose music never died. The audience rose in a standing ovation. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Hidden Hearts. Every click helps us spread kindness and hope. Years later, he would tell interviewers that the most important thing wasn't fame or money, but that one night, when someone finally heard his music and believed. The CEO sat in the front row, tears on his cheeks, listening. The janitor, now a celebrated pianist, began to play Chopin again, his fingers strong, his heart steady, the notes like a prayer for everyone who had ever been invisible. Special request: if this story moved you, comment below with a time when someone finally saw your hidden talent or gave you a second chance. Your stories inspire others.